Good evening. Welcome to Left, Right and Centre. I'm Vishnu Shom. On the show tonight, India gets set for the big rollout of the vaccine. It should start rolling out next week. Ahead of that, there are huge all-India dry runs which are being carried out. The next big one is going to be on the 8th. This on a day in which there have been a rise in the number of UK mutant strain cases in India. This is clearly a growing concern in our country at a time when the situation in the United Kingdom appears to be getting out of control. In the United States, the numbers continue to soar.
Is left by when vaccinations can begin in India, according to what the Health Ministry says. However, the final decision will be taken by the government. States have begun to finalize lists of those who will get the shots first, largely frontline healthcare workers.
A total of 1 crore healthcare workers across the country are set to be vaccinated in the first phase of the total 3 crore announced. Some of the largest or worst hit states have set a target of vaccinating these numbers. UP 9 lakh, Maharashtra 8 lakh, Karnataka 6.3 lakh and Delhi and Kerala 3 lakh each.
After healthcare workers, 2 crore frontline workers like policemen and ITBP personnel will be vaccinated. Data of both healthcare workers and frontline workers is being fed into a database called CoWIN, but it is only accessible to officials right now. And that is why today the Health Ministry issued a warning against fraudulent and imitation apps.
The Ministry of Health in the meanwhile has put out this tweet. Some apps named #CoWIN apparently created by unscrupulous elements to sound similar to upcoming official platform of the government are on app stores. Do not download or share personal information on these. Ministry of Health official platform will be adequately publicized on its launch. The vaccine rollout seems like a race against more cases spreading, especially the more infectious UK mutant strain, of which there are 15 new cases, taking the total to 73. The first was detected on the 29th of December. Nor has there been any fresh data on the status of testing and contact tracing the 33,000 passengers who arrived from the UK between the 25th of November and the 23rd of December.
2 of CSR labs have been involved in this consortium. There is the CCMB Hyderabad and IJIB Delhi. And the way the consortium has been set up and given the sensitivities of the nature, we report our findings immediately to NCDC. And you have to understand it's a very sensitive information. We don't want panic to spread.
Ahead of the vaccine rollout, another dry run is going to take place in every district of the country on the 8th of January. With Sukirti Dwivedi, Anusaya Mathur for NDTV.
All right, so lots to discuss today. The big trials being conducted across India. In another week, it's going to finally be rolled out. But this at a time when the number of that mutant strain, the number of those mutant strain COVID cases coming up, rising in India. Joining us now, Professor Nirmal Kumar Ganguly, the former Director General of the Indian Council for Medical Research, Anjan Trikha, Chairman of the Clinical Managerial Group at the COVID Centre at the All India Institute, Dr. Radhakrishnan, the Tamil Nadu Health Secretary, and we'll also be joined by Dr. Hemant Deshmukh, the Dean of KEM Hospital in Mumbai. I'd like to thank you all very much for being with us. Dr. Radhakrishnan, I must ask you first up, the decision of the state government to allow everybody into cinema halls at a time when we are focusing on fixing our COVID problems, how does that make sense?
No, I think this already under discussion and already I think the MHA has communicated a letter. It is under, it was basically issued by Revenue and Disaster Management Department. So the concerns about the guidelines have already been conveyed to the appropriate authorities on that, and I'm sure it will come to a logical conclusion sooner or later, and hopefully sooner.
No, logical conclusion to what end? Do you believe, as the Tamil Nadu Health Secretary, that people shouldn't be allowed into cinema halls in that number? It's a huge issue.
No, there are specific guidelines which already Ministry of Home Affairs has issued, and we have issued SOPs on that. It so happened that it has been issued by Revenue and Disaster Management Department. So these issues have been brought to their notice, and I'm sure they are examining it. And I also was informed that Ministry of Home Affairs has also communicated the correct position to the government.
And the correct position is that what? Only 50%? Of
50% of the occupancy, the 25th November guideline, which has been extended on 20th December for a month.
All right. So at the moment, only 50% occupancy of cinema halls. This is a very important point, sir, and thank you very much for clarifying that. Is that right, Dr. Radhakrishnan? Before we move on to the other issues, that it's going to be 50%.
That's right, but ultimately the final GO was issued by Revenue Department, and they will be, I think, based on this letter and the various specific guidelines which overrides the thing, are examining, and they will, I think, give it a finality in a day or two.
All right, one would assume they'd follow what the central guidelines over here are. I'd also like to go across to Dr. Anjan Trikha. Dr. Trikha, is there clarity on whether the process of procurement of these drugs is happening fast enough? Have documents been signed to ensure that the rollout happens 1 week from now?
Yeah, I think the government has done its homework. They are working on it. The lists have already been prepared or being prepared. As a matter of fact, I myself have submitted my copy of my Aadhaar card and whatever was necessary. So the list of the frontline health workers is being made, and I'm sure the vaccination program will start as per schedule. We must realize at the same time that it's a huge task for us, for the government to do it. But there are two pluses which the government of India has. The first is that we have a universal vaccination program which goes from a metropolitan city to a village. And the second is that we do our elections every 4 to 5 years in various states, and everything is done at a polling booth, and everything is done without any problems. So these two kind of experiences the government has would go a long way in delivering the vaccines at the right place at the right time, and the logistics is being worked out, and it is in a very advanced stage of decision making, and I'm sure it will roll out at the right time.
So, Dr. Radhakrishnan, it's great to have you as a health secretary. How is it happening in Tamil Nadu? How are you preparing to roll this out in your state right up to the district level?
See, first of all, we had a very clear guidelines have been communicated earlier by Government of India, and in respect of Tamil Nadu, Honorable Chief Minister had already said that we should prepare for the in addition to universal immunization program where we store the cold storages at the district level or bigger places. 51 walk-in coolers have already been installed in addition to the regular thing which we were doing. Plus 2,880 secondary spots have been identified. The Government of India's regional depot is also located in Chennai. Apart from that, for the FAG and ultimately taking to the last mile, we have to take through the cold storage boxes. All these things have been set right, and we have roughly 47,000 sites identified. But very frankly, I would like to break it into stages. So initially, we'll be doing it for the health workers. So roughly, we have enumerated 6 lakh people as advised by the Government of India, both government, private sector and armed forces. And we have already had a dry run on this in 5 districts in 17 sites where, we check the area, the 3 rooms, whether they are available, waiting room, observation room, and vaccination room. Enough social spacing, separate entry, exit. More importantly, the computer and the internet connectivity. The same thing is going to be done in all the districts on 8th. And tomorrow, Union Health Minister is going to have a meeting with all the state health ministers and the staff. So we are fairly well prepared. And
okay.
The syringes and the needles have already arrived at the central depot, and we have already started dispatching them to the districts.
That's fascinating to see this entire plan come together in this manner. Professor Ganguly, does this bring hope to you that this process, which is so important, it's not enough to have the vaccine, it's the actual rollout, will ensure that going forward we will be able to administer this vaccine to more people in a more efficient way, despite being a way larger and far more chaotic nation than, say, the United States or the United Kingdom. These dry runs, the app, and the fact that there is a system which we are testing and testing and testing before rolling it out.
Actually, you have stated rightly that we need to learn from what happened in the United States and UK. They could reach these products, and all which included syringes as well as vaccine, to the various depots, and after that left it to the state governments. The main thing is that vaccine need to go to the arms of the people, and this vaccination needs a process, and this process, one particular center, as we have seen in UK and US, about 1,000 people could be administered vaccine in one day. And we have a COVID app. Luckily in India, they do not have a central plan. They have distributed the vaccine, but there is no central plan for vaccination and funding for vaccination in those countries. India, the funding is there, funding has been allocated, and it is centrally monitored and centrally exercised, and they are assisting state governments. But state governments will have a very large role to play. Ultimately, they will be administering the vaccine. They have to train the vaccinators. They have to keep the sites ready, and they have to keep the sites somewhere near the hospital system. If there is a serious anaphylaxis or anything, the person could be moved quickly over there. But main thing which will have to be done, a very massive communication as well as advocacy launch will have to be made, so that any apprehension, there are a lot of misinformation which is moving around, and these misinformations are quelled, and people are convinced that if they take this vaccine, they will be benefited. So this is one of the major launch which should be done,
right,
along with this.
Right. No, I take your point, Professor Ganguly, that we need to get rid of these rumors. Dr. Deshmukh, let me ask you this: at a time when we are doing so much, to try and roll this out and roll it out efficiently, does it make sense for us to continue with flights from the United Kingdom, given the number of mutant strain cases over there?
Vishnu, what I feel today is whatever the strain comes, we have still not isolated these strains. So probably whatever vaccine is advocated in India would definitely work for these mutant strains, as we say. But unless we have a robust clinical or a microbiological evidence that these strains are not really effective, or these vaccines are not really effective against this mutant strain, then we will be in problem. But the numbers are quite far in between. The numbers are quite low, and we feel that any vaccine which is being rolled out in India would definitely tackle this mutant strain also.
But Dr. Deshmukh, the problem is the rate of transmission. With 70+% rate of transmission, it's not that this mutant strain is more dangerous, it's much more transmissible and therefore potentially more dangerous. And yet we are resuming flights to the United Kingdom. Why?
Yes, very true. I think once the entire COVID vaccination program is in place, these flights which are coming from UK or the flights which are going to go back to UK can definitely resume once a critical mass of vaccines have been administered to the entire population or to the healthcare workers.
Dr. Trikha, how important is it for us to get this vaccine rollout happen very, very fast? Simply because with this mutant strain and the crisis that we are seeing in the United Kingdom, a relatively small country with 60,000 cases yesterday, and who knows, the new numbers will come out today, we see the crisis they are in. How important is it for us to inoculate as many people as possible, as fast as possible, not just the 30 crore initially, but as many people as are required?
Yes, I think you have a point that we should be vaccinating as many people as possible and as early as possible once we start doing it. And you've given an example of UK. You must realize that, and it is for all to see that the health policies of UK at times have done things which were not very classical. They first thought that they could go ahead and have a herd immunity, and then they could come over it. And now, while vaccinating also, they have slightly tweaked their program that you can really have one shot of one vaccine, another shot of another vaccine. So they are really trying to work in a different way. I'm not saying they are wrong. They must be knowledgeable people there in UK, and they are trying to do things which are not as per standard practices which are being followed in other countries. But let's keep the UK thing, what is happening there in our mind, but let's follow what our government thinks is right, and it's totally justified to follow what the numbers tell us. And once the vaccine rolls out, we must start giving the patients first, not the patients, the healthcare workers first, and then the rest of the people as per a protocol which has already been made. we must realize that India is a huge country and we have a whole lot of logistical problems, but I'm sure we can circumvent that, and the government has a platform which is known as CoWIN. I was going through it today only in the evening, and it's a fantastic program, and it is not only meant for India. I'm sure it could be followed in many other countries. This starts from the factory to the end user to the last mile. Everything is there, and even there would be numbers, help numbers, help telephone numbers where people could contact, so that we know what's happening. The dry runs have ensured that there would be treatment for anaphylaxis if it happens at that time, and what is to be done. I think the government has really done its homework very well, and we are really in very safe zone at the present time. There would be hiccups, let's be honest, there would be hiccups, but those hiccups can be managed and will be managed. So there's nothing to get perturbed about, there's no alarm, and let us go and start taking away apprehensions from the people's mind. There are a lot of apprehensions in India as to which vaccine to put, which not to put, what is right and what is wrong. Let's have faith in our system. Let's have faith in the Niti Aayog, which is managing all these things, and I'm sure things are going to work out.
Dr. Radhakrishnan, let me ask you this, your personal opinion. There is a certain rate at which these vaccines will now be churned out. That rate is going to go up. As we gain more confidence, and when the data comes out, perhaps the rate of manufacture will go up. More orders will be placed. There will be new vaccines which come into the market as well, which reach a stage of maturity. That being the case, do you believe that these should be offered commercially as well, perhaps simultaneously, perhaps a few months down the road, to take the pressure of the government dissemination system, where people who are willing to pay for it go and get it?
See, your point is well taken, but at present, when you look at, there is a national group working on it, and they consult the states also. Prioritization wise, this very right that, the healthcare workers who day in, day out, even now we have roughly around 800 odd cases a day, they are the first people to be given, then the frontline workers, then the elderly. So logically they have taken it seriously, but I'm pretty sure that when the supplies increase and the numbers increase, earlier when one of your programs only I was hearing the AIIMS director mentioning, Dr. Guleria mentioning that at some point of time it could also be parallel, they can be simultaneously given, and when that stage come, I'm sure that the experts will be willing to offer it. The national level group which is working on it, in consultation with the states, will be willing to do it with the private sector. And second, at present, we are also involving the private sector in as far as the healthcare workers are being involved. Even day after tomorrow's trial run, at every place, apart from urban and rural and a medical college hospital, we are taking a private sector facility, healthcare facility. But your point is very well taken. At an appropriate stage, I'm sure the higher level teams will look into. State level, we basically, I just wanted to add that, for all this, we are not losing focus on this mask. And again, the issue which you raised up, the social distancing does come up, and mask and hand washing definitely, and the social distancing can help us in protecting us, even if another variant comes or so. Till that time,
yeah, no, there's no option to that. The mask isn't going away anytime soon. Dr. Trikha, just one more final question to you. Punjab very soon will be allowing schools to open up. Kids from class 5 onwards will be allowed back into school. At a time, would it not have made more sense for people in the homes of children to have been vaccinated first before children go back to school, because children themselves for several months, who knows till when, will not be getting the injections?
Okay, right. Opening up the schools world over is a big issue. It's not only with us. In UK, they decided to open the schools, and now we know where they have landed, and they have landed in 1.5 months of strict lockdown. USA, they opened up junior schools because they thought the development of the children could be affected. In India, we all know that we will not be able to give vaccination for anybody and everybody, and that is what you remarked, that it is still about 4 to 6 months away before we'll have a parallel system of vaccines being available in the private setup, that you could go out to the market, get a shot, and come back and pay for it. So I personally feel that opening up schools could be a very tough decision. And what I presume in Delhi, at least, I have been told that schools are not opening till about April or May. And I'm sure Punjab would also rethink into this whole setup, keeping in mind what happened in UK. So opening up of schools is a tough decision, and I presume and I hope that Punjab government would look into it again and look at the numbers and what data comes from various advanced countries, developed countries.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us. I'm going to move to the other part of this program, the situation in the United Kingdom. We have this report, and coronavirus cases are surging again globally. The US is witnessing record deaths, and as numbers climb, governors are now taking new measures to get the distributed vaccines faster out to people. Meanwhile, in the UK, there's an exponential rise in the number of COVID infections and deaths. Well, joining us now, Dr. Vikram Talolikar. He's an honorary senior clinical lecturer at the University College London Hospitals. Thank you very much, Dr. Talolikar, for being with us. How desperate is the situation presently in terms of getting people vaccinated? Because it's a race, isn't it, between the number of people you can vaccinate as soon as you can vaccinate and the cases you're seeing in hospital?
Thanks, Vishnu. Thanks for me on the show. You're right. At the moment, the situation is a bit stressful. In other words, I would say it's challenging, especially for the NHS. Yes, we have seen a rise in the cases, and that's mainly because of the mutant strain of the virus that's spreading 70% more as compared to the previous strain. And since November, December, steadily there have been increased infections, which have led to the lockdown. Now, it's a race because we're trying to get 2 million people vaccinated every week. So the target is to get 2 million people vaccinated every week until around March or April, so that we can cover the 30 million, which are all the vulnerable people and the frontline staff who are actually dealing with the COVID pandemic here. It's going to be a bit of a race, a bit of a struggle, I would say, because at the moment we've vaccinated about 1.3 million. So we have still quite a way to go to get to that mark of 2 million people vaccinated every week. But people are gearing up. There's a big national drive. They're trying to get army, ambulance staff, paramedical workers all recruited. Dentists, doctors have been given the opportunity to vaccinate in their own place. And of course, the production will matter. So the companies are trying their best to produce more doses. So it's a bit of a race versus how fast the virus is spreading versus how fast can we get this vaccine out to as many people as we can.
Dr. Talolikar, what is the situation in hospitals now? Apparently, there are no beds left, and therefore patients who really need hospitals are delaying, need surgeries, are delaying that.
That's right. I mean, because we're dealing with the COVID, there's going to be definitely no doubt an impact on the elective surgeries or the other non-COVID related health issues in terms of dealing with these. Currently, all the focus is on providing treatment to COVID patients. So anything that's non-emergency, non-life-threatening is at the back of the queue. The hospitals, especially in London and Southeast, are a bit overwhelmed. And it's basically a situation where you're trying to get as less number of people to hospital as possible, which is exactly why the lockdown is in place, so as to not cross the current situation in terms of how many people end up to the hospital. The aim is to get everybody the care that they need. And so less the people arriving at hospital, that's going to be the key. Hence, the lockdown is really, really crucial. Everyone needs to obey the situation, the measures which are being put into place.
Dr. Talolikar, thank you very much for being with us. Hopefully that situation will get better, depending, of course, on the rate of inoculation. Thanks very much indeed. We'll take a short break.